I will now discuss double insurance and overinsurance, to be followed by a discussion of multiple insurable interest and distinguishing between the interest of a mortgagor and a mortgagee. So what is double insurance? Double insurance exists where you have a same insured who is insured by several insurers in respect to the same subject and same interest. So there will be double insurance when you have one insured, like for example X, who obtains insurance from ABC Insurance and XYZ Insurance, and he insures the same subject, for example a house, and the same interest, meaning the subject is, or the foundation of his interest is, ownership. So he insures the house as the owner, or in his capacity as owner. So this is double insurance. Now, double insurance per se is not prohibited. However, we must take a look at the presence of another insurance clause. Another insurance clause requires the consent of one insurer before additional insurance can be procured. So for example, X is originally insured by ABC over his house, and the risk is fire. He wants to obtain additional insurance from XYZ. Can he do so? He can insure the same house against the same risk with XYZ. Now, when you are going to be asked whether or not the subsequent insurance is valid, you would have to take a look at the presence of another insurance clause. So if ABC's policy contains another insurance clause, then you need to get the consent, or X needs to get the consent of ABC prior to securing insurance from XYZ. If XYZ's insurance policy contains another insurance clause, X must inform XYZ that he has insurance from ABC. So that is how the other insurance clause will be complied with. When there is a failure to comply, then there is a breach of the policy. Furthermore, the reason why we have rules on double insurance is because we would like to prevent overinsurance by double insurance. Overinsurance, on the other hand, is a situation where the value of the insurances far exceed the value of the subject. Like for example, a house is worth 1 million pesos. The insurance that is procured is 2 million. Now, this is prohibited because if you remember, insurance is for the purpose of indemnity. And when we speak of indemnity, you can only be paid an amount that is commensurate to your loss. So if there is a total loss of this house worth 1 million, you are only entitled to 1 million. You are not entitled to 2 million, because that would now run counter to the concept of insurance that it is indemnity or is a contract of indemnity. So if you now have two insurance companies, each insuring the house for 1 million, the situation now is they would have to share proportionately. So since they each insure it for 1 million, they will have to bear the loss at 50% each, or 500,000 for each of the insurance companies to make up the 1 million loss suffered by the insured, provided of course that this double insurance has or carries the consent of either or both of the insurance companies. Let me now discuss multiple insurable interest. When we speak of multiple insurable interests, there is a single subject, but there are different parties who have insurable interest. And the insurable interest is founded on other rights to it. The best example would be you have a mortgagor and a mortgagee. The subject is the property that is offered or that has been mortgaged by the mortgagor to the mortgagee. The mortgagor has insurable interest in the same subject, and so does the mortgagee. But the nature of their interest differs from each other. Insofar as the mortgagor, it is based on his ownership. Insofar as the mortgagee, it is based on his interest in the security offered to him to secure the obligation of the mortgagor. The main difference between insurance procured by the mortgagor and the mortgagee is that if it is the mortgagor who procures it, it is insurance in his own interest. And that is the same is true with the mortgagee. However, the extent of the interest of the mortgagor goes up to the value of the property. The extent of the interest of the mortgagee is to the extent of the credit secured by the property. That's the main difference between the interest of the mortgagor and the mortgagee. Furthermore, when you have a mortgagor procuring the interest, and in case of a loss, what will happen is loss is paid to the mortgagee. When the mortgagee procures the insurance, loss is also paid to the mortgagee, but here the debt is extinguished. Here the debt remains because there will be subrogation in favor of the insurer. So insofar as what happens to the proceeds and what happens to the debt of the mortgagor, you have to remember that loss is paid to the mortgagee, whether it is the mortgagor or the mortgagee who procured the insurance. But if the mortgagor procured the insurance, the debt is extinguished. If the mortgagee procures the insurance, the debt is not extinguished, and instead, the insurer is subrogated in place of the mortgagee. So the mortgagor will owe the insurer. So those are the basic differences between the insurable interest of the mortgagor and the mortgagee. Other examples are trustor and trustee, and lessor and lessee. Both have insurable interest in the same property. Or stated otherwise, there are several parties with insurable interest in the same property.